Let's talk about referencing structure for our song from another artist's song. So right here, I have a song loaded, and what I would do right here for this example of referencing structure would actually be copying each and every sound the way it actually is. So not the exact same sound, but let's say if I hear here, right here in the beginning, so out of that example, I know I have a kick drum. So I would, in the end, search for a kick drum. And let's say kick. So you can use any of the kicks, say processed ones, like this. So let's say I use the kick right here. Actually, I don't want it in audio. I want this kick drum on a MIDI track, like that. So I want that kick drum in a simpler. So I would actually start from there. So I hear a kick drum right here. So I'm going to copy the elements out of this song. Of course, I have set up my project to be the same speed as the actual song is, so that I can copy, see, the parts as they go on. So first of all, I heard the kick drum, and that's one of the main elements, so I would copy that first. So I'm going to create, let me just check this out and see if this is exactly on point. No, it's not. So I'm going to move the start right here. Okay, now I have that done. Okay, which that's not really important, just for the metronome purposes. Yeah, I want everything to fly nicely. So I would start copying the kick drum like this. I'm going to create a new MIDI clip, and I see the kick drum goes down to here. You can actually hear it. If you can't recognize it out of waveform, you can actually play the song and see how long the kick drum happens. So let me check. So let me put this down a tiny bit, medium, like that. Okay, so my kick drum happens 4 times here. I'm going to duplicate that like this. So I have a kick drum exactly where this one is. Okay, nice. I'm going to pull the volume down a tiny bit on this. Okay. I also have a crash. I heard that. I have a clap. I have some FX. Okay, but now that I have this kick drum inside, inside the track, let me see where else can I find that kick drum playing. So let's hear the song. No. So right here. So I'm going to copy my kick drum right there. Wherever there is a kick drum in the original song, just like this. Maybe the kick drum stops here. Yep, it does. So I'm going to do that too, actually. I can later remedy that. So, give my arrangement some originality. No kick drum here. For now, I'm just going to copy everything just the way it is. Right here it's filtered. I'm going to deal with that filter later with all the effects. But that's where I have my kick drum. See, like this. Doesn't appear there. There's some breaks, but the kick drum actually stops. I can deal with those too. I didn't have to. I could have just went on like this. Have the kick drum play wherever the other kick drum is playing, but I'm going to take care of those details too at the same time. Now when I have the kick drum copied, I'm going to go on to do the same thing with the clap. So I'm going to find the clap, turn this off, find the clap of some sort, let's say one of those layered ones. Okay, so let's say this one. Make another MIDI track right there, put this clap in there, and let's go on to copy that too. I'm gonna make a long pattern, just like the other one was, just like that. I think the clap goes all the way up to there. I can, of course, check that out later. Make this medium. Okay, so I have only 16s. I'm writing the note C3, since the note C3 is where this clap is going to be playing at its original pitch. I'm going to duplicate that by selecting the clap and the actual empty space before it, so that I get the same pattern right here, duplicated. So let's see that. Okay, got that. More. What else do we have right here? Okay, we have a crash. So let me find the crash right here. I like this one, and I'm going to use that crash as an audio file. Since it's not going to happen so often, I can use it as an audio file, since it's really easy to, replace again if I really don't want, or I want to layer it or something. But I prefer to have these, symbols like that, the crash and everything. I prefer to have it in audio, since at some point maybe I want to, copy that same crash right here and then maybe reverse it and have that crash, play an actual uplifter right there. Maybe a tiny bit quieter. Okay, now I have that done too. Nice. So let's see. Okay, now I have those three elements. Let's see where else do we have the clap. So I have the clap right here. You see, I'm just going along and copying wherever this clap is. I'm going to copy where it is. So what I'm basically doing is I'm copying the elements out of this song into my song. It's a different kick drum. It's a different clap. It's probably going to be a different lead. Not probably, for sure. It's going to be a different lead, a different synth that plays the chords, the different FX, different crash as you've seen, different uplifters, different pads, with a different melody, different chord progression, but I'm gonna place them in the exact same space in the arrangement where this song actually lives. So what I'm doing now is I'm copying where this song up there has all of these elements. And I just go in line, just like that, one by one, copying the elements and placing them, see, in the same space along the entire arrangement. And that way it's gonna be easy for me to just, copy that out. Make sure that, if I have a great track whose arrangement I really like, I can be sure that my track is going to follow the same arrangement. So whatever element I place anywhere, I'm sure that, even without taking too much time to discern if it, got boring or not, I know that if in this song that one element repeated as much, and if mine is as interesting as it is in the original song, it can repeat just as much, time right here on the timeline without getting boring. So now what I need to discern is, where do I have this crash? That's the next element. I have it right there too. The crash right here. Let's see. Yeah, also we have the crash. Next, right here. Also. What about halftime? No. No. So, right there. Right there. So basically, most probably the crash just repeats just like that. Let's see if we have it here. Yeah. Here. No. Okay, good. Next. Have it right here. And in the ending, no. Okay, so now we copied the crash too. I can, of course, rename these tracks to have a better understanding of the elements I have in my song. Crash. Nice. This is a clap, clap, kick drum. I mean, the name says it already, but let's just say for better readability, I'm just gonna keep it like this, simple, kick, clap, crash, done. Now next, let's see what else is in here. I can hear a small tambourine playing on top of the kick drum. So let's say I wanted to employ something similar. I'm gonna find something, you see, shaker stamps. Like this one. Okay, and I want that one in a MIDI track. I'm gonna insert a MIDI track. Right click, MIDI track, place this here. It's gonna open simpler with that on already. And as I hear, it's on top of the kick drum, so I can make another MIDI which is going to play exactly the same thing as the kick drum does, or I can just take the MIDI off the kick drum and copy it right here. So let's see our track. The crash is too loud. You see, just a preliminary kind of a mix where not everything is, perfect, but it's at least around the ballpark of what it should be. So the crash is not ridiculously loud, and this, shaker tam is not ridiculously loud. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. So let's see, what else is there in this track? Some percussion. Let's see what kind of percussion we have. It's a shake, what else? Something like this. So I'll make another MIDI track, insert this percussion. And as you've seen so far, we just gone on with the drums. Why? Because in this beginning, we only have those drums. Now, what I'm gonna do also is track out where I have this, tambourine playing with the kick drum too, of course. Now I just want to add this percussion. So let's see how often does this percussion, repeat. Let's see that. So this is the length of the pattern. After this, it starts repeating again. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Never mind that I'm copying my own song. But you can copy anybody else's in this sense, where you're actually just trying to see what elements appear at what point in time, and you can actually, of course, change it. You can make it more often. You can make that pattern shorter or maybe even longer. Why not? Maybe make that pattern, let's say, 4 times longer like this. So there's no rules that are going to stop you not to do that. But if you actually want to do exactly the same thing, keep it in the ballpark, you can. So we could keep the same pattern length. I'm showing you this because this is the fastest way to actually get that arrangement going, and the only thing that's going to take time is for, melodic elements where you actually have to compose something. And of course that takes time, and you could have already composed something like chords and leads and have that MIDI already prepared right in the browser of Ableton and just, drag those in. But even if I have to compose those, it's going to take too much time to copy the arrangement. The only time I'm going to spend will be the quality one where I need to compose a beautiful melody, chord progression, accompanying sounds, some pretty effects to, spice it up. So let's see. This is our percussion. Let's do that. Okay, I don't have to place it in the same exact spot. That's nice. Okay, now we have some percussion, just like that. So let's see if this tambourine plays here too. And I hear that it does. So let's see if it plays here. It actually does. it actually plays over the kick drum, only the entire drum pattern here is filtered out. So most probably it's here too. Yeah, I hear it on top of the kick drum in the background. I'll deal with these small breakdowns after. So now we copied that also. Let's see about the percussions. They are probably all the way through. Yep. So we also have those percussions right there. Let's keep them up. So just part of the regular drum pattern. So like this. I know they're going to be filtered out. Right there is where all the drums start. This is only the kick drum playing really filtered out. So I've copied that percussion too. Now, just to give you an example, I don't have to copy this entire song, but you get the drift of what I'm trying to do. So I'm trying to copy the elements, like case by case, so that they all, appear as they would appear in the song I'm trying to copy. It's going to be, as I told you, different melody, different sounds, different colors on the synths I'm using. But still, I'm going to be using them in the same spots in time in the arrangement. And this way, I can get a sense of what somebody else would do in an arrangement that I actually like, how long that's going to take. And that's going to also teach me valuable things. So by copying the arrangement, you can just blindly do it, or you can also learn something out of that. By doing this process, you will learn something about how other people do it. And I still to this day, I would do something like this just to see how others envision the music starting, stopping, why. Because when you hear the song, you're just listening to the song and you're actually experiencing the emotion that the artist wanted to transfer onto you, and it all sounds nice. But then by doing this, actually closely analyze what they did, and that helps me understand. So as you see, now I have these elements recreated, and what I'm going to do next is check out what else do I have right here. So I have those chords. So let me get serum. Yep. Get some chords in there. Well, I'm going to choose one of the plucked sounds right here. Anything. Let's see what it sounds like. So the chords actually play all the way through here. Let's hear that. And this is how long the pattern actually is. So I'm going to create a new MIDI clip right there for the serum. This is how long it needs to be. It all plays in a dotted 1/8. So let's see what that's going to be like right here. So let's hear our chords. So if I wanted to copy the actual, rhythm of those chords, it would be something like this. I could, in fact, change that up a tiny bit. Let's say some rhythmical discrepancy like this. Maybe not. Maybe so. Like this. Repeat that twice. And let's see, change something right here. Just like that. Change this a tiny bit. Change this into a C. Yep, something like this. Something like that. So whatever your chord progression is, the point is I made one, it's the same length. So the chord progression has the same length timing wise. So let's see where that one just plays right there during the entire break, only it's filtered out. Let's see at the beginning here. Yeah, it stops actually. So let's see where it starts to play again. So it starts right here. Again, filtered in. stops right there. Starts again right here. Again, just continues playing. Okay, right here, just repeats the first part of it. So I'm going to cut this right here with the Control E. I'm going to shorten this pattern to only the beginning, like this. So it's going to play that. And I can deal with all the filtering and everything else later. You can do that right away. Copy the filtering too, you know, where it actually comes in from the low pass filter. But so far, I already have all of these elements copied, you see, and it just continue on. So right here, I have a pad. Let's see. So we have some lead on top of that chord. Okay, let's say right here, I have an open hat. So I'm going to add another MIDI track right there. And I'm going to search for a hat. Something like this, why not? You do know I'm just taking any hat. Yeah, right there. I'm taking any hat I find. You can, you know, pay more attention to the selection of a specific hi-hat you want to use. Right here, I'm going to go to medium to be 16th, and I want this on the offbeat, so right between the kick drums, like so. Okay, so this chord is too loud. As I see, we have a lot more things to add. We have that little plucky square. Yeah, we can imitate that one too. So as far as this goes, as long as you're able to recognize the elements that exist in the actual track, as long as you're, you know, able to differentiate different elements that play in the song, you can effectively recreate similar elements for your own song, and as such have the arrangement follow the same routine. Now, without continuing into, you know, recreating every single element, this is how I would go on about doing that. And in the end, even if I missed one, I'm going to add some elements that were not in the original, that were not in the song, that were not in the original arrangement of the artist I was copying, and that's going to give me a slight difference. Even when you're copying, there's going to be some elements that you won't catch, you won't actually want to copy, and you're going to put something else in place of those, or just emit that, you know, not put anything. In the end, that's going to give you differentiation. But now, you see, even if I played you the track on the above and mine, so that's a completely different track. It's a different piece of music. The only thing I'm actually copying is the arrangement and the structure, the elements that are in the arrangement when they start and when they stop. So element for element. Sometimes, as I told you, you can break out from that, add a certain element that fits with you. You know, even after something just like this, what I've already copied, you could, you know, hide this and not follow anymore. From this point on, you know, if you copied, let's say, the filters that were right here on the drums and on these chords that give you the feeling of when the break is, let's say that from, you know, here on out, you could go on by yourself, not copying anymore, but, you know, adding elements that you want to add yourself by the feeling of what the track is. You already got the skeleton, you know, done. So by just having this, you could continue on by yourself, or you can continue copying the elements. So how much of the knowledge you're going to take out of somebody else's track is all up to you.